Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and the mid-month sneak peek just dropped. I actually forgot that it was going to drop. I fell asleep. I woke up in the morning. I'm checking Twitter. I got all these tags. Boom. But it's not Fear Itself Part 2. It is something else that is more MCU related and Disney Plus related. It is Miss Marvel. That's right, Kamala Khan. This passionate fan of superheroes, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, has obtained superpowers beyond her wildest dreams, from high school to the battlefield. Check out the new looks of this hero, whose only limit to her power is her imagination. Now, there are spoilers if you haven't seen Miss Marvel. Obviously there's going to be spoilers here because we have to talk about what the uniform is going to look like and how it's going to change her relative to the show. But first, let's check out the sneak peek. The sneak peek is actually really good. Again, huge shout out to the sneak peek team. They picked the train station scene, which if you are, if you have if you've seen the show, episode I think it's 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, where she goes back in time. They're huge scenes, not only for her development as a character and sort of the way to tie everything together with her family and then the history and stuff like that and the bangle, but it also represents a huge turning point in the history of her people, right? And like the whole India-Pakistan thing. So yeah, it's really crazy. I really liked the show, if you couldn't tell. And I'm really excited to see what kind of upgrade she gets, but I think this was a really good sneak peek, and I'm really happy that they chose this one. Anywho, if you pause it, you see the T3. So she's getting a new uniform, she's getting T3. That's really cool. I like that. If you go a little bit further, you can also see that they are giving us a tiny little peek at her new power. So this, to me, confirms that they're going with the show, and this was something that I was really unsure about, but is actually quite interesting for the game, because prior to the show, Miss Marvel's all of her skills, all of her uniforms reflected the old comics version of Kamala Khan, which is Mr. Fantastic, right? She basically has the exact same power set as Mr. Fantastic, with the added bonus, I guess, of doing the Embiggen, right? The Embiggen was sort of her signature move that Mr. Fantastic really didn't do nearly as often. And I actually forgot which one of her skills does Embiggen, so I'm just pressing them all now. This uniform, by the way, came out almost 2 years ago. So yeah, it's been 2 years for Kamala, for Miss Marvel. There we go. There's the Embiggen. But yeah, so the stretchiness is sort of gone. Sort of, but not really. Because if you've seen the show, you know that her powers essentially are the same. They just look different, but she still stretches in a way, and she still embiggens, which is really
cool.
So yeah, that's the sneak peek there. We're definitely getting the new powers. Over on the forums, this is not, they've basically, this may not be the only sneak peek, which is nice. We do need more content. I was actually planning on making a video talking about why I think the game is in an extended dry spell. I know, again, I've talked about it a lot lately, but I was going to talk about it again because we had a poll on the channel. We had a poll talking about it, and I think 85% of you, let's take it up here, 81% said I am bored of MFF. That's pretty huge. So I did want to discuss that. Obviously, I wanted to give you guys a voice. There's no point in doing polls if you're not talking about the results of the polls, but we'll leave that for another day. Shifting gears back to Miss Marvel, if you take a look in the comics, of course, the old Miss Marvel, like I said, was basically just, and like the uniforms represent it and reflect, she's basically just Mr. Fantastic. However, they changed her with the show. And the easiest way to explain what the change is, and you can see it here pretty clearly. You can also see her stretching here to save someone in the last episode, because this car is like going out of control. She uses it to punch people and stuff like that. She also embiggens at one point, which is actually super cool. And the CGI was pretty decent. I think they also did this maybe to make the CGI a little bit easier for them, because they can sort of hide the imperfections with these different colored lights rather than having to be flesh toned and things like that. But what Kevin Feige said, and I guess it was his choice, we don't know, we sort of blame him for all the mistakes, but also pile on all the decisions and the praise on him as well. even though it's like a massive team over there for the Marvel stuff. But I think what he said is that he wanted her powers to more closely reflect armor. And if you've been following the House of X stuff, and if you love mutants, then you know armor and what her power set is. She's a more recently popular mutant, who's been getting more attention lately. But yeah, this is basically what she looks like, and so she generates this armor around herself that can change shape and get bigger and get smaller and do different things. And so you can see there she generates armor that looks like Wolverine. But yeah. So that's probably the easiest way to explain to explain Miss Marvel's new power set. It's basically a combination of her old power set, but it looks like armor's power set, and it wraps around her body like armor, which also then protects her. So that's the other thing about Miss Marvel, is that this crystal-like stuff protects her. She can use it as a shield. It protects her body when it's on her. It almost has like an automagical like property. It's pretty cool in the show. Like at one point she looks like she's about to be hit, and because she's down, and then something's flying at her. I can't remember what it was, and then her body like automatically guards for her. I think she gets hit by something, and her body or the bangle automatically guards it for her. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. Kamala Khan also, Miss Marvel also getting a tier 3 is pretty nice. Now, here's the tricky thing, and I've brought this up before, but her base, right? Her base is, I believe, combat. So yeah, she's originally a combat type. She did swap over to speed briefly, and now she's back to combat. So this is going to be a combat tier 3, so get your combat books ready, and then whatever else. However, not going to be strong enough, in my opinion, not going to be strong enough at tier 3 to make much use of the speed uniform. It would be very exciting if Kamala got a tier 4 as well, like if she was able to upgrade twice, because then, yeah, you could probably take advantage of this one, and we've seen that with other older uniforms for existing tier 4s like Iron Man and Hulk and stuff like that, where even the bad ones, if they change enough properties, they can still be used for some content. Don't think that's going to be the case for Miss Marvel unless she got a tier 4, because the tier 3 by itself won't be enough. But it should be really interesting to see how they upgrade her, because this uniform, I know it's 2 years ago now. It's a long time ago now. The PvP meta has shifted a lot, and we know that the PvP meta right now is dominated by blast types like Adam Warlock and Emma Frost. But if they go and they basically extend her value for PvP, she was almost good enough when this uniform came out. She was almost good enough to be in PvP. She has a 30% heal that she can trigger every 6 seconds when her HP is under 50%. So regardless of whether they make her more PvP centric or not, as long as they keep this accelerated healing passive, she's going to be super easy to play. She's going to basically be like another Juggernaut or another Hulk, but this time female hero and also combat. The other thing I just realized is that she could absolutely overtake Titania for ABX, which is probably going to frustrate some people who just moved gears around. So maybe, yeah, but this discount ends in 4 days. Or no, wait. The discount here ends in 2 days. Yeah, the update's not coming out until next week. The update's going to come out in 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 days. So you're not going to have enough time. That's another tricky situation. I don't know what you want to do with that information. I'm not saying that Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, I'm not saying she is going to be better than Titania for ABX. She's also not a combat villain, so she doesn't have that going for her, whereas Titania can do both. She could do combat female and combat villain if you have the full team up with Juggernaut and Absorbing Man and you rotate through all of their awakening skills. They can actually score higher than Hulk on combat villain day. I know, but hard to believe, but true. But yeah, she does have the possibility, she does have the opportunity to overtake Titania and Valkyrie and Sif for combat female ABX. But it should be pretty interesting. We've gotten quite a few combats lately. I'm not tired of them just yet, but it also means Where's Gore gonna fit into all this? Yeah, it's pretty interesting, but I just want to see what her uniform looks like. I want to see how they represent her powers in the show, and I kind of want... I really hope there's a shift. This is the last thing I want to say here. I really hope that there's a shift with the MCU Disney Plus show updates, because as players, we have to wait for the show to be over. Miss Marvel has been over for at least a couple of months, right? So we have to wait for these shows to be over, but we still don't get spoiler stuff from the show. Now, in Miss Marvel's case, there are basically no interesting, like maybe the red dagger. I can't remember his name. I think his name is Red Dagger. There is one other character that could be added. But in the case of other shows past, we missed out on getting Lila as the Scarlet Scarab or Silver Scarab or whatever it was. We missed out on getting Sylvie. We missed out on getting Agatha. We missed out on so many characters because of spoilers, because basically all of these Disney Plus shows in Phase 4 have had a character have a plot twist where they actually matter, right? Like, oh, look, this is Agatha in episode 1. She's just a normal person in Westview. Psych, it's Agatha Harkness, right? Oh, look, there's this girl. It's Mark's estranged wife. Oh, psych, she's the Scarab. She has powers and she has these crazy wings and she has all these cool abilities, right? You know what I mean? So I feel like something's got to give here. If they're gonna keep delaying these updates to way after the shows are over, then they need to make them very accurate to the show, right? And the biggest complaint recently of that was Moon Knight. This doesn't feel like there's no way to connect this to the show other than the look, because none of the skills reference the show. None of the skills reference anything. We don't have that scene where they're moving the sky with, there's no Khonshu or whatever, right? So something's got to give. Either these updates can come sooner, or they have to loosen the leash a little bit, loosen the noose on these uniforms and what they reference from the shows, because they don't feel like the shows. So it doesn't really feel like you're getting an MCU Disney Plus update, right? And then you feel like, okay, I waited for nothing, So yeah, I think that's part and one of the issues that's plaguing MFF right now. There are definitely other issues plaguing the game right now, but I think that one would definitely, if that one was fixed, and if we got more, directly inspired content, I think that would definitely go a long way to bringing players back, because you want to play with what you see on the screen. That's the whole point. That's the whole reason this game became popular in the first place, right? I don't mean to go on a rant here, but that's the whole reason the game became popular in the first place. I see Captain America from Infinity War, and I can play him with the double shields because it's exactly accurate, right? It doesn't look cartoony like Contest of Champions. It doesn't look goofy. He doesn't stand in place like an idiot like in Strike Force, right? I'm not knocking those games. I'm just saying there's elements of unrealism to them by default, right? But MFF is by far the most realistic depiction, right? This MFer has a hammer. He like look at this, right? This is why people fell in love with this game. So hiding all of this stuff, hiding these spoilers, and hiding these things for the benefit of what? Some people, some bozos who watch the show like 5 years later. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, hopefully they stop doing that, and hopefully, whoops, that's not Kamal. And hopefully we get a banging update from now. We get banging Disney Plus updates from now on. Anywho. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I will see you in the next sneak peek. Take care.